So yesterday we were discussing that the key to saying Shema Yisrael and meaning it is that you first have to do a zamra and you have to find good points within yourself, within your life, within those around you. And this allows you to create songs in your life. And that's why we have Pesukei de Zimra before we have Shema. Because your ability to say Shema with Amunah, to be so close to Hashem, to connect to Hashem, that you want to attach yourself and to live in a way that you're close with Hashem, you have to first be happy. And he says, Kikar bechina kriyat Shema, because the essence of the kriyat Shema is the tov shenit barer. It is the good that you had already extracted before that. Meaning you did Ashrei, you did Pesukei de Zimra, you're saying all good things. And that what happened is through the Korbanot, where you extracted the good, through the Pesukei de Zimra, the songs that you made from the good that you extracted, and now the Shema, you get up to the Shema is all the good that you found, which is called Emunah. You understand that? So now he's bringing in a Kabbalistic concept, which we're going to have to be familiar with in order to understand this throughout all of our learnings of Rabbeinu Zal and through Rav Natan and any Chassidus. And that is something called the upper and lower waters. Okay? In last week's Parsha, in Bereshit, we learned on the second day that the two waters were separated, the upper and the lower waters. So what are these upper and lower waters? Clearly, it's not just a physical phenomenon, because otherwise, why does the Torah teach us about something that we can't chop and have no connection to? That never happens. So there must be that we have upper and lower waters in our life. In Kabbalah, they explain, in Chassidus, they explain, the upper waters are called Mayim Duchrin. The lower waters are called Mayim Nukvin. Okay? What's the difference? Mayim Duchrin are male waters. Mayim Nukvin are female waters. Everything in the physical world is actually based on a relationship between giver and receiver. Everything you see in the world, not just business where it's giving and receiving, that's mamish what they call it in Hebrew, not just intimately when you're with your spouse, but in everything in your life, even right now, I'm teaching, you're learning, I'm giving, you're receiving. So everything is constantly this spiritually male-female relationship. It's not male-female in the way that we learn culturally, that a female is someone who is like this and a male is someone who's like this. Is a very deep spiritual phenomenon that at any point that you become a giver, at any area of your life, at any time in your day, we're recording this. At any time in your day, any time in your life, that you're taking on the role of giving, you are embodying spiritual male energy. At any time that you are receiving, which is just as important and just as good, it's necessary. And this is actually the goal of your life, is to be able to receive and to experience that good and to give it back out. You are taking on a female energy, okay? Hashem, when he gives forth Shefa, in Kabbalah they call it Mayim Duchrin, male waters, because they come from above to below, so to speak. Giving. When you do something down here that elicits those waters to come down, that's called female waters. When you do hibodedus, you are tapping into Mayim Nukvin, which is female waters. And the Kabbalah explains, Zohar explains, Chassidus explains, whenever you are creating female waters, automatically you elicit male waters. Okay? So where, in basic, simply, when do I create female waters? When I do the mitzvot and I learn Torah. When I learn Torah and I do the mitzvot, you create female waters. And automatically, when Hashem sees these female waters, he releases male waters. That's the form of shefa, that's parnasa, that's peace in your home. Everything that you're looking for in your life, amuna, all of those things are male waters, meaning Hashem is giving them to you, al carte blanche. But you have to first do something down here to cause him to release those waters. Those are your female waters.
Female is giving.
Female is what you're doing down here. What you're doing. What you're doing.
Male is receiving.
Male is to give. The female waters could also be to give. Female is receiving, but there's two elements going on. Male is giving spiritually. Female is receiving spiritually. On the other hand, everything that happens down here in this world is quote unquote female. Everything that happens above this world, or at least like parallel to this world. Female waters because it's in this world that you're putting in action. And that releases male waters from above. When you give tzedakah, the same thing happens. Any mitzvah. So now he's saying that when you say the Shema, after you first extracted all the good through korbanot, what's the point of the korbanot? That you are slaughtering the nefesh be'amit, the animal soul, right? Because you're saying that the whole reason that I did whatever I did is because I have a part of me which is pulling me towards concealment of godliness in my life. But obviously I did it because at that moment I felt that that would be good for me. Even though long term I might know that it's not, but it had such a pull on me that I wanted to. So you bring a korban, which is an animal, instead. And then after, you're good. Why is it that after you're good? Because that part of you, which you now physically have in front of you, it's being slaughtered, and then you're left with only the good that you have from that. So you start with the korban, then you go into Pesukei D'Zimra. Now that you did that, you can start to sing to Hashem because you found good in yourself, meaning the part that wasn't the nefesh be'amit, the part that is your nefesh eloki, the good parts about yourself that had nothing to do with that you're a kind person, that you love, that you do the best that you can, that you help people in the community, that you finance learning Torah, that you yourself are learning even though it's difficult and most people in your position are not. And you go on. Those are all part of the Zmira that you're singing to Hashem. Like we said, a Zamra that you're going to sing with that little bit of good that's inside of me. And now that you did that, those are all bringing you towards the Shema, which creates a yichud between you and Hashem. Because through these things that you did, you elicited female waters. And those female waters, when you say the Shema, they rise up to Hashem. Shemit Taferet HaShechina. And you beautify the Shechina. Because now at this point, what part of you is saying Shema if you did it correctly? Only the good inside of you. That good inside of you is called the Shechina. People don't realize when they say the Shechina is in the world, we want to connect to the Shechina, we want to draw the Shechina into the world. It's inside of you. Like people think it's like this really, really, really ambiguous, general, the Shekhinah is here. You don't want to talk here because the Shekhinah is here. The Shekhinah is mamish, your soul. Your soul is called the Shekhinah. And if you take all of the godly souls of the Jewish people and you put them in one place, the Shekhinah is mamish there. Does that make sense? Your whole goal when we're saying we want to create a yichud between the Shekhinah and Hashem, meaning you want to take the good of yourself and lift it and elevate it up. And that's creating the connection between the Shekhinah within you and Hashem. That's the yichud. And when all the Jewish people do this together, this is Geula. This is the lost princess that Rabbi Nachman is speaking about, that you're looking for that lost princess to bring her back to the king, right? To bring her back.
I promise next time. I promise.
To bring her back to the king.
My princess.
I thought he just called you a princess. I was going to say that was epic. Right?
No, it's my car keys around there.
Okay, guys,
let's find
focus. Focus in. Focus. Talk after. We'll talk after. Okay? When we say in Aleinu that at the end Hashem will be one and His name will be one. Focus here. Hashem will be one and His name will be one. You. What are you saying? You. Does anybody know? Guys, focus. This is not a mitzvah. It doesn't matter. Listen. Aleinu, we say Aleinu, at the end of Aleinu, we say Hashem should be one and His name should be one. Bayomahu. This is Geula, right? It says in Masechet Pesachim, this is Geula. Okay, I want to tell you guys a big thing. No, it's very, very important. A 43-year-old adult can figure out what seat he's going to sit in at the table. No. I'm telling you. No. I'm telling you. It's a very, very important thing. There's a very big Yetzer Hara clothed in a mitzvah to gather the guys. What would happen if another guy came in? Because you guys are so nice and so kind and you really want to make it like a Geshmak brotherhood, which is amazing, you're going to help him find a seat. And if another guy, you could do that for the whole hour. You won't, though. You're going to go to work and you'll have missed it. No, so I'm just telling you, this is focus. When we say that Hashem will be one and His name will be one, then His name is the Shekhinah. Meaning, when there's a yichud between the Shekhinah and Hashem, it's Geula. What are we really saying? When the Jewish people, the good in all of us, is revealed and all of the darkness is nullified, Hashem will be one, His name will be one. This is the Geula. But you, on your own personal level, have the ability to achieve your own individual Geula by achieving that Hashem is one and His name is one. You start by doing a Zamra. Once you find the good points within yourself, you sing from those good points. This increases your Simcha, this increases your happiness. And now that you're happy with your spirituality and you realize that you don't need to pay for it, it's free and I can keep increasing it. And I don't have to be a slave to the physical world in order to do it. And now everything in my life is getting better because I'm achieving simcha within myself and not from something external. I can go chase after that. And then you could say Shema. And you can mean it. Shema Yisrael, Mamish, you gave me all these good things. And you're here physically. You're Mamish, you're here in your mind. You are experiencing that connection with Hashem, that love. You should love Hashem. Wait, what's the whole reason about do you feel that? That you should love Hashem with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your might? No. Do you know why? Do you know why you don't feel that? Because you love other things as well. Because you love money. Because you love the other gender. Because you love food. Because we have multiple loves, when we come to say that you should love Hashem with all your heart, you don't mean it. And now because you don't mean it, you end up not connecting to the entire Shema in truth. The whole point of the Seder, of the Tefillah, is to get you to realize that all the good inside of you is from Hashem. And all the negativity in your life is a concealment of Hashem. So when you realize that, now when you go to say the Shema, you say, and to love you with all your, I want to go do that. Why wouldn't you want to go do that? The only reason you wouldn't want to go do that is because you still think that there's something better out there. There is nothing better out there. Our generation knows this better than anybody else because we've been able to achieve a level of economic, occupational success that people dreamed about for thousands of years in Bukhara, in Eastern Europe, and all these places, that it was a pipe dream to be able to do what people are doing here. And you do it, and you realize, I still feel empty. I still don't feel good. And what's the blessing of that? That you realize what the sages said thousands of years ago, that I have to find something within myself to go be happy. I have to find something deep and spiritual, something that I can continue to water and to cultivate and to grow every day, and use that financial situation to elevate that spiritual situation. And then it's mamish amazing. And then you're in a state of geula, that you have the physical and the spiritual. People have been dreaming about this for thousands of years. You're getting the physical, mamish, you don't have to do anything. You go right out of your house, the supermarket's right there, you get whatever food you want. You call the restaurant, they come. You call an Uber, it comes. If you would have told anybody that this is what it would be like, they would all start crying and say the geula is there. And we are all sadder, more angry, more confused than we've ever been in history. How is that possible? It's called koach medameh. Rabbi Nachman says that in the final generation, we're going to have a Yetzer Hara that never was before. The power of your own imagination. We were just learning in the Orach Chaim, HaKadosh. He says that the Nachash had said that he was arum, he was cunning, he was sophisticated, right? And this is where Rabbi Nachman gets the whole thing against being against not simplicity. Okay. So, but the Orach Chaim says, I don't understand. He's not really that cunning. He just comes and he says, didn't Hashem say not to eat from all those trees? Said, no. He said that I can only eat, not eat from this tree, I can eat from all the other trees. So his mom is just lying. That's not cunning. Cunning is when you are, yeah, trickery. That wasn't a trick. Clever. There was no cleverness there. He just said something that wasn't true. So he says the cleverness must not be from the statement. Where's the cleverness from? So we just learned the Nacha. He had everything in the garden. She had everything in the garden. Hashem said, "It's all for you, everything, just not this one tree." And they were fine with it. Okay, great. So I don't have this tree, and I'm gonna go enjoy all the rest of the garden. The Nachash comes and he says, "Oh, but you can't eat from this tree." Oh no, I guess I can't. And then the Orach Chaim says, now what happens is you start to focus on the one tree you're not allowed to have. And then all the other trees look nebach to you. All the other trees look weak to you. Okay, great. So like I can have all this other stuff. Yeah, but the guy who comes in and he has a nice watch and he has nice clothes, his wife looks good, his house looks good, he looks happy. And then you say to yourself, maybe I'm missing out. Yeah, so I'm learning and this is good, but maybe I'm just mamish, I missed the boat. And you start to look a little bit and investigate. And what are you doing when you go investigate that? You're taking time away from all the other trees. And then you speak to that guy and the guy says to you, yeah, I can help you get a deal. I can help you get in this business. No problem. I got you. Come, learn with me a little bit. I'm going to teach you how to do it. And then you start. And your mom's in hell. Why? Because you're angry, you're confused, you're not succeeding, you're struggling in it. And then what happens? They tell you, no, it's just you just have to keep doing it longer. And then you spend more time doing it, and you put more energy, and you spend less time with all the other trees, and more time focusing on the one tree that doesn't even exist. And the Nachash can get you to focus your whole entire life on the one tree that isn't even real. The Rabbi Nachman says it's like a hand. A person brings you their hand and says, here, I have something for you. You want it? Just come with me.
And you never get it.
And there's nothing ever there.
Chasing your tail.
Yeah, you're just chasing it. And then he says, as soon as he gets you in a position that you have destroyed everything in your life in order to find it, emotionally, psychologically, spiritually, Rabbi Nachman says he opens up his hand and there's nothing there. The American dream. Very good, lady. You got it. That's what it is. It's not real. It's mamish a dream. You got it. Mamish. And this is why the Midrash says, where is Mashiach going to come from? Edom. The Midrash says that where is the Mashiach going to be found? He's going to be found in Edom. And he's going to bring the Jewish people out of there. Where is that? Right here. Right here. All of Kal Yisrael is stuck in a trap. The trap of what's called the American dream. And you get it from every side. Your parents, well, we moved from Bukhara and we had nothing. Go be Matzliach. This is the dream. Your wife, she's telling you the same thing. And then you have in society, they're telling you the same thing. And then you have Facebook and Instagram and you're seeing pictures of people who are miserable, but they look really happy for 1 second. And then the phone goes away and then they're fighting the rest of the day, but you don't see any of that. You see the picture. And you are besieged by images, by media, and you are in a war, a milchama, that everything around you is trying to teach you about the tree. And there is nothing there. When people started coming to my classes for the first time, and I started to teach them, Rabbi Nachman says that everything in your life is great. You have so much. It's already good. You have clothes to wear, you have food to eat, you have drinks to drink, you're married, or like you could be, and you have kids, you mamish have everything. And I had a person who came from California, and he was becoming Baal Tshuva, and he was listening sincerely to the whole thing. And he said to me, David, you have like very low expectations in life. I said, what do you mean? He said, you're saying like you have everything because you have food and you have drinks and clothing and hot water. So what? So what? You're not gonna like yearn and go and search for more? I know for a fact that people like this, and everyone is like that. Everyone is naturally like that grows up in the secular world. He is still searching for that tree, and he's going all around the world to find it. He's not finding it. And he's getting older and older and older and older. there's nothing there. It's not real. Everything you have is right in front of you. Do you know why the Hasidim are so happy? Because they're eating from the tree of life. And people look at them and they say, you live in a completely unprogressive, unsophisticated world. Like you have not stepped up to the times. You created a fake world and you live in it. And it's mamish the opposite. They're the only ones who are connected to reality. We're all chasing after something that mamish doesn't exist. And what if, like, at the end of your life, Hashem just could have showed you, by the way, you had it so good. Everything was good. Everything was fine. And you spent the whole time miserable, looking for something that doesn't really exist. By the way, people think that Gehenna is like some very scary, abstract. It's very clear from Chazal. It's just you get to look back at your life and you just feel tremendous angst at how you wasted the whole thing. And that's the worst pain in the world.
There's no fire.
You just feel like Nebuch, like you just feel like I just wasted like an opportunity to do something really, really amazing.
What you could have been, what you ended up being.
Yeah. Like mamish, I go listen to me. Listen to this is my schedule. I'm learning and praying all day. Okay? Thank God. And I see people leave and they go to work, and I know for a fact, like if I said to them, hey, you should stay a little bit longer, you could stay all day and do this, they would probably like think to themselves, like, I feel for David, that he's given himself such a minimal life, and they come to my apartment and he lives in such a space and he drives such a car, and like they feel for me. And I feel for you so much more. I have so much more empathy for everyone around me that you don't know, that I go to the field and I cry for all of you. That I go to I pass on the bridge and I see everybody in their cars driving hours to go make a certain amount of money. The whole entire time they're scared, they're afraid, they're nervous, all day and night. And people feel bad for like people like me and Rav Nachman that we're sitting here like we missed out. I saw that. I didn't grow up religious. I'm not missing out on anything. I have everything. And Hashem says, what's the mitzvah? That I want to give you all that also. You can do that, and you can be matzliach, and I'll take care of your family, and I'll take care of everything. And the world mums teaches us we're missing out on everything. We're not missing out on anything.
But a person can still work.
It's good to work. No, I'm not. It's not what I'm saying. Go work. It's a mitzvah to go work. Why am I working now?
You have an idea. You have.
It's a means to an end. If your work is in order to increase your spiritual life, work is a mitzvah gedolah. And if you support people who are learning and who are teaching this truth to the world, oh my gosh, you have a bigger scar than the teacher himself. But if I'm going to work mamish just to make money for the sake of making money, to accumulate, because you see your friends doing that and that's what they're busy with, you are trapped in the greatest trap in the world.
Horrible trap.
The greatest trap in the world. Rabbi Nachman mamish calls it Gehenna. He says you're living in Gehenna, and you don't need him to tell you because you feel it. You feel tremendous, tremendous inner turmoil. And you're wondering, why is Hashem not helping you? He is helping you by not allowing you to be matzliach in that way, because if he allowed you to, you would mamish lose your mind. It's up to you to go to the woods and to talk to Hashem for a few minutes and to figure out, what am I doing with my life? How am I spending my life? What am I giving to my wife? What am I giving to my kids? Have I been tricked and duped by the non-Jewish world that this is the greatest good? Because the truth is that if you look into any of their homes, Rabbi Nachman said it. He said it himself. I know those people who are matzliach. They come to me for eitzah. I've seen what's going on in their homes, in their life. He says explicitly in the Likutey, anyone who ever really knew what was going on in those people that you look up to would know 100% they have the greatest problems in the world, and you would never even think to go look for whatever they're doing. But because you don't know that, you're searching every day, and even when you're doing things. Her surgery should be refuah shlema for Eliezer, Devora, Bat Eliezer ben Devorah Golda should be refuah shlema completely. Okay? So, if you go work for a mitzvah, it is an amazing thing. Rabbi Nachman has many Torahs on the tikkunim, the rectification spiritually that happen in the world that can only happen in the workplace. But that's only when work is used as a means to an end. When the work is the end in and of itself, you are mamish in Gehenna. And you don't need anybody to tell you because you feel it. However, when you're hanging out with your friends and they're also chasing after that, and they're telling you about their business plans and we could do more here and we can make more here and we could do this and that, and you find yourself slowly losing your fire for those spiritual goals you made for yourself just 5 seconds ago, and you're already back into that world. And every year the same thing keeps happening. You're not matzliach, and you're asking Hashem, why am I not breaking through? Because Hashem would have tremendous cruelty if he lets you be successful before you figured out the purpose of your life. It would be the greatest cruelty. If you have a son and your son says to you, I want to eat Snickers bar. I don't know, are they kosher? What's a kosher candy bar? Snickers is kosher? Okay. Snickers bar. And he's 18 years old and he's busy eating, he wants these Snickers bars. And you tell him, like, you can go make money. And there's even better candy bars than Snickers bars. And you can have like so many other things beside a Snickers bar. And you can have Snickers bars. And I end up, he goes, no, I just want Snickers bars. And he gives him the Snickers bars. Do you know what the dad is doing? He's abusing him. That's abuse. Because he's not setting him up for reality in life. That there is much more happiness to obtain than from the Snickers bar. And we wonder, Hashem, why he's not making us matzliach economically. Because it's the same exact situation. That you're asking Hashem for Snickers bars. And Hashem is telling you, you can have ta'anug, ecstasy from spirituality, and you don't even have to pay for it. And then I can give you money also. I can give you that also. But it's just a Snickers bar. Nobody ever attained Simcha from Parnasa. They use the money as a means to attain Simcha in some type of inner way. But beyond the feeling you get from the paycheck instantaneously or the deal instantaneously, 5 seconds later, your wife calls you and tells you, I'm not feeling well and you have to go home. You're back to your problems. Your Simcha is not there. That's not Simcha. Simcha is an inner state of reality that's not shifting with the times. It's not coming and going. Simcha comes from the word b'machshava. Simcha is machshava. It's an inner reality. When your thoughts are connected to godliness, you're happy. It's not about your situation. And this is the trick of the Yetzer Hara. Kivechol, so to speak, chazi b'mabra katina legabach. Bechol ze'al zeh ma shemotzi nekudatova. And when you find these nekudatovot, afila posha Yisrael. That Rabbi Nachman says that even in people that you see, and they mamish are not good people that are Jewish. They're Rishayim, he says. He says Rishayim Gemarim. They're complete Rishayim. He says you need to judge them favorably. You need to look for good inside of them. Because what you do is you're engaging in a deep spiritual process. You cause those people to want to go get closer to Hashem and to become good by judging the good inside of them. Rabbi Nachman doesn't explain it explicitly in the Likutey because all Chassidus is taking very deep Kabbalah and just giving you practical lemazes, go do with it. When he says go judge everybody favorably, even a person who's a complete Rasha, we say, how can I do that? There's something wrong with him. I'm going to encourage the behavior by thinking good about him. And it's the opposite. When you think good about those people who are doing bad, Jewish people, you're doing a spiritual process called Mayin Nukvi. You're finding good points within them. You're creating those female waters for them. And then Hashem gives them a ratzon to go chase after it, to go do tshuva. That you're causing the kedusha within them to raise up, from within the klipot. Because the whole reason that the person himself, if he's Jewish, he's a Rasha, is not because he's a Rasha. He's a good person. It cannot be that a Jewish person is not a good person. And if he's behaving in a way that's not like that, which you see very often, and if he's behaving in the worst way you ever saw in your whole life, it means he's mamish trapped in the greatest klipot possible. You have to have rachamim for him. You have to pray for him. How do you have empathy for him? By judging him favorably. Because when you dafka think and then you say out good points about him, you cause a deep spiritual process that Hashem then awakens him to tshuva from his place. Because he doesn't have the koach on his own to find good because he's trapped in darkness. A person who's trapped in darkness cannot find his way out. Like the Gemara says, a person who's in prison, he can't find his way out. So you have to go say those good points within him to Hashem. And from here, more and more. This is what real tzaddikim do. They see a person, he's chasing after money, he's chasing after girls, he's doing this, he's doing that. And I go to him and I say to him, wow, you know what? You're really, really smart. It's the first time I ever heard it. You're not lying, it's true. And all of a sudden, he hears one good thing about himself. He says to himself, I have good in me. What is that? And then I feel good because I hung out with this person. He said something nice about me. And I'm hanging out with him more and more. And he says, you know what? You mamish have a mind for learning. You can really learn, like really well. Why don't you take a few minutes out a day? He likes it. He feels good about it. And you see that you talk about all those points that are good inside of him, and you awaken him to want to be close to Hashem. People in this community think by telling people that they're going to go to Gehenna, they're going to be able to do tshuva from like,
Just get better.
or get better.
That's what can be observed.
Yeah. And then what happens?
I hate it.
Yeah. You think Hashem likes that? That his children hate their Judaism? That they hate their life? Is that normal? You know, the whole reason I'm sitting here today is because when people were trying to teach me about Hashem, nobody even told me to do a mitzvah. I would have rejected it. Nobody even told me what I did was wrong. I would have rejected it. They just told me, wow, David, you know, you really, really, really care. You're really a good person. And they weren't lying. They meant what they were saying. But they focused on that part alone. And what happens when you hear that? All of a sudden, that good inside of you is starting to awaken. And then you start to wonder, what is this good that they see inside of me? And you spend more time with them. And you see it more. You see it more. You see it more. Until you completely do tshuva from love. And then you bring everybody back with you. And I tell people all the time, I said, you guys like learning by me? Say, yeah. You guys happy I came to Queens? Oh my gosh, yeah. Thank God, Baruch Hashem. I said, you know, the only reason I came here is because nobody said these things to me. Because if anybody said these things to me, I would have died from a drug overdose. You don't understand that people are in such darkness, such darkness. The only way to take them out is light, not by increasing the amount of darkness. You got to point out the light. That's the finding the good points. And you find a good point after a good point after a good point. And that good inside of you is called the kavod of Hashem. That is the Shekhinah of Hashem. It's that good inside of you and inside of everybody else. Like Rabbeinu Zal teaches us in numerous places in the Likutey, like it says in the Zohar, that when Yitro came, that he was the first ger, convert. Now, when Jews came back to Hashem, the Zohar doesn't speak so much about it. But when Yitro realized that Hashem existed, and he came close to Hashem, he did tshuva, the Zohar speaks about how in all the spiritual worlds above and below, there was tremendous clamor. Why? Because Rabbeinu teaches in many places in Likutey that the greatest revelation in the Shekhinah comes when those who are furthest from him realize that he exists. And this is the reason why you see that a lot of the Breslov Hasidim are people on paper that you don't see in the Kiruv where they even want to deal with. people who are addicted to drugs, people who are addicted to gambling, people who are clubbing, people who are this, people who are that. They don't want to leave the yeshiva to go help those people. Why? Because they feel like inside it's not a high percentage case. Because the whole concept of kiruv is like a business. Let me go take those people who look best prognostics, that they have good to work with, and those people who don't, never. They need help. Hashem needs to help those people. And Rabbeinu teaches the opposite. You have to go run after those people who are struggling the most. You know why? Because the Zohar teaches that Hashem gets the greatest hana from those people. And when those people realize He exists, they realize that they're good. Hashem gets more happiness from this than anything. And all of the malachim and all the spiritual worlds go crazy when they see that Yitro comes back. Specifically, Daika, why? Kadein istalach it yakar shema dekut shabrichu elevatata. That the kavod of Hashem is revealed in tremendous revelation. There is a gilui, or the revelation of godliness in all the higher and lower spiritual worlds. When Yitro said, "Now I know Hashem exists," to teach us that when Bali Tshuva come back and Gerim come back to Hashem, this is the greatest revelation of the kavod of Hashem. And the entire exile is because Hashem's kavod is in exile. What is this thing that we're speaking about, which sounds very genuine, very ambiguous, to reveal the kavod of Hashem? And means that those Jewish people who are blazing, who are clubbing, who are doing drugs, who are on the internet, who are doing all these things, they are the kavod of Hashem that's in exile. It's with them. It's not some random ambiguous spiritual energy called the kavod of Hashem. You know how the kavod of Hashem is revealed? When you lift those people up from the darkness. And how do you do that? Say the parts of them that are good. Say what's good. People always tell me, aren't you going to encourage bad behavior? If you look at my students, you know where my students came from? Complete darkness. And they're mamish lights in the community. They're literally, and they dafka are the ones who are lifting up all their brothers and sisters who came from those places. And Rabbi Nachman says, that's how it works. What brought them out? I never once said the word avera. I don't think I ever say the word avera in any of my shurim. How is that possible? How is anybody ever going to do tshuva from that? Because there's two ways to go about it. There's a story about Rav Nachman of Horodenka. He is the grandfather of Rabbi Nachman of Breslov, and he was the one who was named after, and he was one of the main Talmidim of the Baal Shem Tov HaKadosh. When he was growing up, he had a ratzon to get close to Hashem, and the way that he did that was that he was constantly tormenting himself about his negatives, beating himself about his negatives, getting musar about his negatives, both within himself and from those around him. And one day he had a dream, after he was mom's just killing himself in this way. He had a dream. And in the dream, Sarah Meinu, I believe, came to him. How he knew it was her, I don't know. It's a very interesting story. She told him that there's two ways to do tshuva. There's one way that's very bitter, and there's one way that's really sweet. And Hashem prefers the sweet. And he woke up from his dream, and he realized, because he had been hearing about this person called the Baal Shem Tov in Ukraine, and everyone was talking about how there's this person, and he's teaching people how to connect to Hashem through love, and through sweetness, and through joy, and through energy, and through life force, and through brotherhood, and through connection and unity. And he said, what is this? And he didn't want any part of it. And he realized from his dream that Hashem was telling him that your way of tshuva is really bitter, and I don't want it. I don't want you to be unhappy. I want you to go be happy. So what did he do? He said, I have to visit the Baal Shem Tov. He became one of his biggest students. He gave birth to Rabbi Nachman's father. His name was Simcha. Simcha gave birth to Nachman, named him after his father. And he gave birth to what's going to be Bezrat Hashem, the cause of the whole Geula. All because he did tshuva from sweetness. Tshuva from sweetness.
Some kind of light you could bring to the world by just going to show through sweetness. You can give birth to Rav Nachman and say.
And what does Rabbi Nachman say about us? He says, you can all be like me. You ever notice the beginning? I don't know if you guys ever read Rabbi Nachman's biography. If you look at his whole childhood, you're just going to see you. that he struggled with his brit, and he struggled with sexual tests, and he struggled with his taiva for food, he struggled with his taiva for this. He kept falling down every day. Everything was hard for him. He said, I never did anything that was easy. When I learned, I never understood what I was learning, and I kept crying because I didn't understand. And like, why did Rabbi Nachman make it that his biography looked like that? How come we don't have a picture of him in the front that makes him look like he is godly? And then in the bigger his biography, you see how he had photographic memory and like, because Rabbi Nachman says, why is that? Why would Hashem want that? What's the benefit to his children by seeing that? I'm going to show you how I'm similar to you, and show you that. And Rabbi Nachman says explicitly, I did not become Rabbi Nachman because my great grandfather was a Baal Shem Tov. I became Rabbi Nachman in Breslov because every single day I tried the best that I can. Every single time I fell, I got back up. Every single time I didn't understand, I cried to Hashem to be able to understand. And I did whatever I could every day of my life, and I became Rabbi Nachman Mefega. And he says every single person can do this. And anybody who attaches to me can become their greatest self. You will, he says. You mamish will. I'll make you a tzaddik. How will I make you a tzaddik? To get you to believe in yourself. There is no specific thing that you need in order to become a spiritual superhero. All you need to do is max out on your own potential. But Rabbi Nachman teaches your ability to do that is resting on the fact that you're happy. And your ability to be happy is resting on the fact that you believe in yourself, that you're happy with your life, and that you believe in what Hashem gave you is good. Emunah. Emunah. Because specifically, because you need Romamu when it's elevated, you need Alu, and it transcends. These Kuratovas, they come out. Sheu munachim lamata me'od bazeh daika. Mi'atiferet hashechina, kivechol, so to speak, biyoter. That the Shekhinah is being revealed more and more. That what happens when you go to the field, you go to the forest, you go to a room, you go to your car, and you start to deep Bodhidu, and you start to talk to Hashem, and you say, Hashem, I'm struggling with these things, but you know what the truth is? I'm a good person. And I'm doing the best that I can. And I learn for a few minutes a day. And I pray, and I try. And I'm a good husband, even though we fight, and we can't seem to get it together. I'm for sure trying the best that I can. Those are all good points. You know what you're doing when you do that? You are revealing the Shekhinah in the world. And by doing that, you cause Mayin Duchrim to come down, because you're raising Mayin Nukvin, you're raising the Shekhinah up from the earth. And this is causing godliness, Shefa, to come down as a result. That's why Rabbi Nachman was makpid that you should never fall into despair and sadness. Because the Zohar says that Atzrut is the Yetzer Hara. Because when you're sad, you can't focus on good. And good is the Shekhinah. And if you cannot focus on the Shekhinah, you can't elevate her up from the dust. And if you can't elevate her up from the dust, you can't draw down new waters. Good new shefa, brand new situations in your life, new revelations of good in your life. You need to first find them within yourself. And then you automatically have a reciprocal effect from above that Hashem then gives you more. And through this, you mamish make a yichud. It's not through Kabbalistic intentions that you do before you pray, that you get the Arizal Siddur, and you start to try and look at the letters, even though your mamish Bagama Brit, you're fighting at home with your family all the time, and you buy like a $10,000 aliyah for Yosef, and you're completely dishonest at work. You're lying at every corner that you can get, and yet you're doing yichudim, and what are you doing? That's not a yichud. When Mashiach told the Baal Shem Tov that the whole world is going to do yichudim like you do, and that's going to cause the Mashiach to come, he didn't mean through kavanot. He meant mamish through a connection, a yichud, a unity between the Shekhinah, meaning the good in yourself and Hashem. That this is the whole avodah of the Baal Shem Tov that he brought to the world, and that Rabbi Nachman just took it and just smashed it out of the park. That every piece of his advice that he gives to you is to take the good inside of you, to lift it up and connect it to Hashem, and this causes geula in your own life, and this causes geula in the whole world. And this is the concept of Bechinat Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. What does it mean that Hashem is our God, Hashem is one? Hashem is Agad, Hashem is one. It means that we're one with Hashem. We're almost done. 2 minutes. That we're one with Hashem. That's the unity. Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. The Chiddush is not that there's only one God. Many people believe in one God. It's that the good part of you is illuminated, and through that illumination of the good inside of you, and you're watering it, and you're cultivating it, and you're giving birth to it, that is what's making Hashem one. Because as long as you're not doing that, Hashem is not one down here. Because the only way people see Hashem is through you. Why is it that when you're by tzaddikim, you feel good? You just feel calmness of mind. You go in, you see them, that they're smiling. What, they don't have any problems? They have no issues? They have the same problems or worse. But why is it that when you're with them, you feel really, really like Hashem exists? Because they have oneness with Hashem. Because the good inside of them has been cultivated and elevated, and they're working every day trying to nullify the negativity. But we don't do that. Why don't we do that? Because we're sad, because we're angry, because we're confused, because we're tracing after the tree that doesn't exist. But it all starts and they're all encompassed with the good points, because those good points, he says, are mamish godliness. They are not just a creation of Hashem, they are mamish Hashem. If you find good points inside of yourself, you found the Shekhinah. That is the lost princess. Bezrat Hashem, each one of us should really take this lesson and think very deeply about it. Because I'm telling you right now, I didn't grow up wearing a white shirt. I didn't grow up having facial hair. Was a part of and chased after all the same things that everybody else did. It's all sheker. There is nothing there for you. And even if you find whatever it is you're looking for, the hand will open and you'll realize that what the nahat that you thought you'd get from it is not there, and you destroyed everything along the way. You lost years and years of your life. And don't feel bad about that, because Yosef tells you it's all from Hashem. But now you have Bechira, you have a choice. Do I want to go make that choice again to go run after nothingness? That Shlomo Melech, who had more money than anybody in the world, he had more material success than anybody. He said at the end of everything, I realized there's mamish nothing beside Hashem's Torah, beside His mitzvot, beside the good that He gave you inside of yourself to cultivate, that inner good. There's nothing else. And that you're not going to go down in the grave with whatever. When Rebbe passed away, I'm mamish, like I in my mind, I already stopped moving in that direction. I left that life, thank God. But when he passed away at such a young age, it just became so clear to me. You never know when you're not going to be here. You have no idea, especially as a man. That men have heart issues. They could have a heart attack. At any moment, you hear all these stories that just drop dead. Can you imagine you spend your whole life running after something, and chas v'shalom, something happens. What did you do here? Nothing. Your mom is left with nothing. And you didn't give your kids the tools to go live a good life because you tried to get the money so they could support themselves, but they have no inner tools to be happy. They have no inner tools to deal with conflict because they grew up in a broken home, because the husband is constantly going after money. The wife's at home upset because and you have what did you leave? Nothing. Go realize that there's good inside of you. Figure out a plan that you can be able to support yourself financially, and at the same time, go water your garden. You mamish are a superhero that is covered in darkness. Lahavdil. That Batman was in the pit, and he was sent there, and his parents were killed, and he mamish thinks he's nothing, and really, it's from the darkness that the light comes. It's you, Davka, that can save your community, because you're the one who was chasing after that dream, and they can relate to you, and they don't see you in black and white, and they don't see you with a hat, and they don't see you with anything, and they think that those people lost their mind. But you, all of a sudden, they see that you are able to support your family, and at the same time, you're spending the majority of your time trying to help people, trying to help yourself, trying to help your family in deep inner spiritual ways, and they are going to be inspired. They're going to want to follow you. And this is your top kid in life. Zak Baruch.
Zak Baruch. Very nice.
think you got everybody just now. You said, nigga, you